Students, now today we'll continue with chapter 13, that is direct and inverse proportions. We have already started exercise 13.1, so today we'll start from question number 5. Okay, so I want to read out the question number 5 for all of you. A photograph of bacteria, fine, enlarged 50,000 times attains a length of 5 centimeter. Now, what is the actual length of the bacteria? So in the first case, we have to get the length of the bacteria when the photograph of a bacteria enlarges 50,000 times. So when any bacteria is enlarged by 50,000 times, then the length of the bacteria is 5 centimeter. So in that case, what is the actual length of the bacteria? Now in the second portion of the sum, it is said that if the photograph is enlarged 20,000 times, now instead of 50,000 times, if you increase the length of a bacteria by 20,000 times, now in that case, what would be the enlarged length? Okay, so we are talking about the length of a bacteria and how much the number of times the photograph of a bacteria was enlarged. So the topic is, the first topic we'll write on the box, as we have already discussed that in this particular exercise we have to always make a box and then we have to proceed. Fine. So the two topics that we'll discuss is the length of bacteria. So that is, we'll first write length of bacteria. Okay, now the length of bacteria is given in the centimeter unit, so you will write it in centimeter so that every information should be taken from the box itself. Now what is the other thing that we are discussing, that how many times the bacteria has been enlarged, isn't it? So we'll write number of times what we are increasing, photograph, isn't it? Photograph of bacteria was enlarged, isn't it? Was enlarged. Now according to the first two sentence, the photograph of bacteria was enlarged by what? 50,000 times, isn't it? So we'll write 50,000 out here. Okay, and what is the length? What is the length it attained? It attained 5 centimeter. Now we have to get, now suppose, now what is the actual length of the bacteria? Now in that case we are not enlarging, so what is the actual length? So in that case we'll take this as 1 and we have to get the actual length of the bacteria. This is the first thing that we have to do, first case of this particular sum. Now if I make another box, suppose another box, now we can conclude the second part also, that is, if the photograph is enlarged by 20,000 times, isn't it? 20,000 times, in that case what will the actual length of the bacteria? In that case we can write y out here. Okay, so you have to get the value of x and y. Now first of all we'll solve this part. Okay, as because this is a direct variation, it's quite obvious that the number of times we will increase it, the length will obviously increase. Now see, in this case what I'm doing, this is 1, so obviously the length would be very small of the actual length of the bacteria, isn't it? So what was the rule? So we will write this as 5 by 50,000 equals to x by 1, isn't it? So this was the rule. This is how we should write in the direct variation. But before that you always should mention which proportion you are doing, that is direct or inverse. We have not started inverse, so this exercise is entirely based on the direct proportion. But in the examination you have to always mention below the box that what you are doing, direct proportion or inverse proportion. So in the previous class I have already discussed that how to understand whether any sum is a direct proportion or inverse proportion. So I hope you all have understood it. If in case any student has any problem, please write me on WhatsApp, okay, so that I can explain you again. Now how to do this? Cross multiplication, isn't it? So 5 into 1 is what? 5 equals to 50,000 x, isn't it? Now how to get the value of x? That is 5 upon 50,000, that is x. Now we have to reduce it. 5 ones are 5, 5 10,000s are. So x could be written as 1 by, how many zeros are there? 10 to the power 4 also we can write, isn't it? Now this could be written in the form of 10 to the power minus 4. In exponents we have studied the reverse form, if you have to write it in this form, then the power become minus. Okay, so the value of x is 1 by 10 to the power 4 you can write, or 10 to the power minus 4 also you can mention. So the actual length of the bacteria is 10 to the power minus 4. Now let's get on with the second part of the sum. Now second part of the sum also, what we'll do, we'll hide this part and we'll compare these two, isn't it? We'll compare these two part. So how to do it? The second part is 5 upon 50,000 equals to, we'll not consider this part but we'll consider this part now, that is y upon 20,000. So these are all direct variations. Okay, so in direct variation we'll write in this form and we'll do the cross multiplication, that is 5 into 20,000, 50,000 into y. Now we have to transpose this 50,000 towards left hand side, so the answer would be 20,000 upon 50,000 equals to y. Just let reduce the zeros. Okay, 5, so y equals to what? 2 centimeter, isn't it? So you see the number of times this is decreasing, this is also decreasing. 50,000 times, now it is 20,000 times. When it was 50,000 times, it became 5 centimeter. When it was 1, it was very, very small. But when instead of 50,000 times, when I increase by 20,000 times, the actual length now become what? 2 centimeter. Okay, so this is a solution of sum number 5, students. Okay, so let's move on to sum number 6. Now question number 6 is, in a model of ship, the mast is 9 centimeter high.